Welcome back to the Yaffee program. News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Glad you joined the show today. So it really wasn't until Friday in the legislature when Democrats really threw a fit because of redistricting. I mean, there were some comments and some protests, but it really escalated, I guess, after that. But I do appreciate what State Representative Kenneth Pascal said, who is black. He's the first Republican in years who is black, been elected to the legislature. He said, during this special session, some of my Democrat colleagues have had a lot to say about House Republicans being racist. They even called my blackness into question because I have an R next to my name instead of a D. At the same time, I'm not invited to participate in the Black Caucus. He said, my identity is not determined by a political party or anyone else's expectations. That kind of rhetoric reflects a growing problem in American politics where disagreement is too often met with personal attacks instead of honest debate. So I want to talk more about this right now with Todd Stacy. He is the host of Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal, and you can read some of his stuff as well at Alabama Daily News, aldailynews.com. Todd, how are you this morning?
I'm fine, Yaffee. How are you?
Doing good. So tell me what you think of what happened in the State House. I'm guessing you were there, right, on Friday, so you probably saw some of it up close, and then you can also react to Pascal's comments as well here.
Well, I didn't hear everything you said on the lead end. The music was still going, but if you're talking about the protests that got out of hand and people getting removed and things like that.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it really escalated Friday. I mean, the protests were going on even before the legislature got to town. I pulled up Monday, maybe about 10 o'clock. That's way before the session started. And the State House steps were, at least 200 or 300 people there. And it kind of continued throughout the week. But yeah, on Friday, it escalated. On Friday, and it was kind of curious because what most of these demonstrators object to is the congressional plan, right? This idea that Alabama could revert back to the 2023 map if the courts allow it. That's like the big objection. But that wasn't even going on in the House. That plan had moved up to the Senate. And so the House was contemplating this state Senate map, which is not nearly as controversial, at least not supposed to be. And yet it was in the House gallery overlooking the House of Representatives where things really got out of hand. Like normally you can't talk in there. Like you'll get in trouble if you even start talking to your neighbor. You can't bring a bottle of water in there. They're really strict. And yet, this group was just, raising a ruckus, trying to disrupt the House proceedings, which they did. They succeeded in that. The House went into recess after a minute, not for too long, but it was a ruckus. There were multiple individuals removed. That's what they wanted, by the way. It's not. They wanted to get arrested, which I don't think they actually were sent to prison or sent to jail or anything. They were just detained and removed from the gallery. But yeah, it was all meant for the cameras. It was all meant, kind of performative for all that. So, I guess it's to be expected. I'm not really surprised. We had kind of been waiting for it all week, and it happened. It didn't stop the legislature from doing what it was going to do. And again, this is not like, you could look to a state like Tennessee that actually did redraw maps, or Louisiana, which is about to, or Florida. This wasn't even a redrawing of maps. These maps have already been drawn. It's simply setting in place a plan to go back to those maps, which, it's just not a crazy situation. It's not something that is entirely objectionable. And it's as in terms of what other states are doing, what Alabama did is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, that is an interesting point because, they're complaining about lack of black representation. But yeah, going back to this map, you still get one Democrat, Terry Sewell, who is black. So that is different than, say, Tennessee. Tennessee, they drew out all Democrats. They made it all Republican.
Right. And so I think that bears remembering. And but a lot of the same rhetoric is being used. And it's kind of frustrating to know that and to be reporting on that as we have all week. When the special session was called Friday before last, all I saw online was Alabama calls a redistricting session. Well, it wasn't. It was not a session to redistrict. But people just can't. I don't know. There's such a national fervor, really on both sides. But there's this national fervor and when you get caught up into that, the facts don't matter. But I think the facts really should matter in this case because it's still something of a long shot that this plan happens. We don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do. I think, it's at least maybe I say a long shot, maybe a 50-50 shot that this is actually going to happen. But it's not, it's not what Tennessee did. It's not what some of these other states have done. It's not what Virginia did, And so all in all, it was not exactly a radical plan.
Speaking with Todd Stacy, who is with Alabama Daily News, Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. So despite this, it does seem like Democrats are still probably going to win in the midterms, even with all this redistricting, at least from what I've heard. It just kind of lowers the gap, correct?
Yeah, I was having this conversation over the weekend with some family members wondering about that. And, I agree with you, Yaffee. The redistricting, gambit, this whole arms race, if you will, for seats, may not even matter. It probably will matter over the long term, but Republicans have a pretty uphill battle this midterm year. And there's some major headwinds, right? Look at gas prices. That's just the easiest thing to demagogue and it's not just that. If you're a independent voter, you're not really, maybe you sometimes go Republican, sometimes go Democrat, whatever. If you're a consistent voter, there's not a lot happening right now that is motivating you to support Republicans, right? There's not unless you're just a real fan of the program. And so there's a lot of headwinds. Things are going to have to change dramatically, not just with gas prices, but with the economy, prices, things like that, for people to maybe come back home to how they voted in 2024. And unless something changes, I agree with you that Republicans are in serious danger of losing the House.
So we'll talk a little bit about, just real quick, a couple of minutes, we'll move on to kind of foreign policy because I've been talking about Iran as well. I don't know how much you've kept up with it, but what are your thoughts? My general thinking right now is we should bring back Project Freedom. The U.S. forces should focus pretty much on opening the strait, and then maybe let Israel focus on the other targets within Iran. It seems like Israel almost wants to, but what do you think?
I'm certainly no foreign policy expert. To me, the Iran problem was something that we needed to deal with for decades, and I think it was the right move for the president to try to deal with this. I worry sometimes that maybe he underestimated how long it would take, and just the fight they would put up, and the fact that we had the Venezuela situation that was basically like a 24-hour operation, very successful. And I worry that he maybe thought that Iran was going to be the same way, and it's just two different situations. So it's in my opinion, a just war. It's something we needed to deal with. But in thinking about all that and thinking about whether or not you should go in and do things, you got to understand the back end. Like, how long is this going to take? How much blood and treasure is it going to take? Are the American people ready and prepared, and do they have the stomach for this? So that's what's tough right now. I mean, the effect on gas prices alone. I think if you'd have told Donald Trump before this incursion began that gas prices were going to be, $4.25, I doubt he would have wanted that, because he likes things to be stable. So it's just wars are tough, and whether or not we have the stomach for it, that's a good question. But they had their impacts, and I'm not sure we were totally prepared for Iran to drag this out as much as they have.
Yeah, I mean, he says that he was expecting it to go higher, but Trump's also the ultimate salesman. so who knows if that's for real. Todd, Stacy with Alabama Daily News. You can read his stuff, aldailynews.com. Check out his show, the podcast for Public Television's Capitol Journal out there. It's on YouTube and, of course, live on public television. Todd, always appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, Yaffee, be good.
All right, we'll be back. We got the Sunday news shows recap, and we'll start that next on the Yaffee program.
The Yaffee program. Jim Rome takes on sports.
Why? Because I have a job to do.
With rapid-fire takes.
So I don't want to hear from you lava pigs on this notion today. No idea what you're talking about. You're complaining more than you like to breathe air. It's like you get up in the morning only to complain and cry and moan on social media about things that you don't even understand.
He's the Spitfire of sports smack.
Take advantage of it. Get up in here.
The Jim Rome Show podcast.
What's your beef?
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
You've been warned.
The Hammer Alley Podcast, an 80s flashback mockumentary.
Modestly speaking, in 1987, we knew Hammer Alley was better than Def Leppard, White Lion, Glass Tiger, John Cougar, and other artists named after Wildcats.
How did they go from top of the rock to rock bottom?
That band that won Battle of the Bands, Hammer Alley, is as current as a bowling alley. Have you been in one of those lately?
Hammer Alley.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.